Hello, welcome to a cross-group week 2 match. This one is between the Mesagoza Magic, a very fierce contender in Group B, and the top seed of Group A, which will be the Tel Aviv Clawitzers. And this match, pretty important. Now, both these teams are pretty much already guaranteed to be in the finals, but the top seed overall of the entire tournament the top two seeds, they get buys. The top seed overall gets to choose which opponent they want to fight for the semifinals. So rankings still matter even after, these first 7 matches. Now the Kelly Clawers are currently second seed, I believe, so they want to do as well as possible here to try and get that first seed overall slot. Mesagoza wants to try and get in that top two so they can skip their quarterfinals match. And yeah, both teams looking pretty normal here of picks, except for two pretty obvious standout in Fletchinder and Berserker. I think Fletchinder has come once, and its counterpart Talonflame across of it, which is kind of funny. Berserker, I don't think has ever been to a match. Could be, but yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, so we see a Dragapult lead, which is always scary. You just have no idea what that thing's going to do. With Fletchinder. And Berserker is going to hit the field with Executor, so possibly a Trick Room coming out. Immediate Terra Fairy, get around all those weaknesses that Executor has. As U-turn will go into it, would have been 4 times effective, now not very effective. Swapping into Entei. As Knockoff does go into it, that's not going to be good, as it reveals Safety Goggles, and Berserker reveals Life Orb as Trick Room comes up. So the Protect from Fletchinder not doing anything. Raper doing actually a pretty fair amount to Executor for being Fletchinder. Ironhead going into Entei, probably looking for the flinch here if I had to guess. Actually, they don't need it, as Psychic goes into it as well before it can go, and getting the KO. Dragapult, very fast Pokemon coming out in Trick Room. Berserker protects, so you need to turn a Trick Room to get that protect off, as Fletchinder also protects, and it is a double protect from Dragapult. Sleep Powder going into that. You know that Entei has the safety goggles, so you're free to spore into anything else, not spore, Sleep Powder. Knockoff going into Dragapult, but Culver Berry is shown, allowing it to live. But Psychic will also go into that slot, so Fletchinder is going to be the only one to move. Doing another 40-ish% to Executor, who just keeps healing on those berries. Harvest, a very, very good ability. Tentacle will be the last one here as Ninetales hits the field to give Harvest to Executor. Psychic doing not a ton to Tentacle, being that special tank that it is. Another Brave Bird, just barely not picking up the KO. And Muddy Water will miss Executor. That's not what you want to see, as Harvest is 100% in the sun, and a Jetpack shown on Ninetales, so probably overheat. The accuracy drop is going to cause it to go into Raging Bolt. And yep, there's Executor eating another berry from the 100% Harvest chance. The Tentacle will tear to ground to avoid Thunderclap, a very smart move. Go for Sludge Bomb, KOing Executor finally. And Fletchinder will go for Tailwind, finally making use of that move on it. Berserker hits the field this time, faking out the Tentacruel before it can do anything, as Thunderclap KOs Fletchinder. And yeah, at this point it's going to be pretty tough to win with the Mesagoza Magic. It's just like a Draco Meteor could come out like an Iron Head from Berserker. You need like a double accuracy drop. It actually is Calm Mind, so they're going to try and guarantee the game win. But yeah, I think Iron Head will just pick up the KO. Yeah, that'll take us to our second game here. Alright, so here we are at our second game, and it just seems like Trick Room was probably not expected from the Mesagoza Magic side. As, they led their 2 very fast Pokemon, protected Fletchinder. You just kind of need to get some good damage into Executor. If you have that kind of bad lead, I'm unsure you would have been able to KO, especially with that Terra Fairy at the beginning. But you just need some damage into it, you need some damage into its partner, or just something to make sure Trick Room doesn't get its full value. So we'll see how they adjust. I mean, I see Meowstic there, who possibly imprison Trick Room, I want to say. I might have to view if that's actually a thing it can do, but like Aurora Bell, try and stall out stuff like that, so we'll see if anything is changed here. Is an Entei lead possibly to do more damage to the Executor and Meowstic? Meowstic can also fake out Exeggutor, which would be huge. But looks like it is a Tailwind lead this time with Talonflame, who will, in fact, Tailwind, which means Fake Out was not gone for. Light Screen coming out. Spoofer Heat hits Meowstic, living. Though it would have lived even without the Light Screen, but you know, health is always important. Project Pack is shown once again. And what is this Entei going for? It's going to go for Stone Edge. Crits, I don't think that matters against Talonflame, especially since it has the Focus Sash, so it will live. Talon going to swap into Mr. Netanyahu, or Raging Bolt, to preserve Tailwind, as Ogerpon Terras to get the attack boost. Rain Dance coming out, taking off Photosynthesis and the damage from all fire moves, as Stone Edge goes in, almost picks up the KO on Ogerpon, as Ogerpon does take out the Meowstic. Tentacruel hitting the field here, as Spiky Shield comes out. Extreme Speed going to go into it, going to do a little bit of chip damage to Entei here, which could matter, as Calm Mind is going for on the Raging Bolt. Dazzling comes out from Tentacruel, doing very, very little damage. Tentacruel is more of a tank than a defensive Pokemon. Swapping back to Ninetales to get control of that Sun once again and activating Photosynthesis. As Tentacruel swaps to the ground type once again, Thunderbolt going into it, not going to do anything with that Terra, and Stomping Tantrum doing quite a bit of damage to Raging Bolt, but it actually tanked that a bit more well than I thought it would. Muddy Water, no accuracy drop, as well as missing the Ninetales. That could be pretty important. Talonflame hitting the field again to try and get Tailwind out. Overheat hitting Tentacruel, doing very, very little damage to that special tank. Stomping Tantrum, of course, wouldn't be immune by Talonflame. And Dazzling Gleam is going to come out, not going to risk the miss here. And Talonflame will be KO'd before it can set up another Tailwind. Light Screen is gone, though, so no Light Clay Meowstic, so we don't know that item. Ninetales swaps into Raging Bolt as Ogerpon Hearthflame comes out, still with his attack boost. And Ninetales Alolan will come out to set the snow now. There's Sash to survive the Ivy Cudgel that goes into it. Entei will take the KO on Raging Bolt, putting us to a 2v3. Ninetales will come out, though, setting up the Sun once more for Ogerpon Hearthflame. Tentacruel will come out, so the Mesagoza Magic will win this weather war once Alolan Ninetales hits the field again. Extreme Speeding into Spiky Shield once again. This is the only damage that Entei has taken so far, although it will take a Heat Wave here. It'll burn Tentacruel. I mean, the damage is annoying, but I don't think it really matters beyond that. But yeah, nothing really stopping another Extreme Speed here to take out Ogerpon. This other Heat Wave comes out doing, I mean, it's doing some damage, but, oh, especially with Hydro Pump. Yeah, this is going to be a little rough for Ninetales to win this one. So we'll go for Overheat into Entei to try and just pick up a KO. The crit probably would have done it, but didn't get it, as Stomping Tantrum goes into Ninetales. I mean, correctly identifying that's the target you need to go to. You know it has Stomping Tantrum, so you just gotta fish for a crit at that point. But yeah, so this will take us to Game 3, as both teams have one victory. Alright, so yeah, here we are with Game 3, and I really liked the Mesagoza Magic's adaptations for our second match here. I mean, I would say that their lead wasn't the greatest into the Tailwind lead, unless Meowstic had Fake Out, but it looks like Meowstic might not have Fake Out. But even so, they realized that Ninetales, you know, setting up the Sun for Ogerpon, Hearthflame, Talonflame, and Raging Bolt is, you know, that's pretty important. So they brought not only Rain Dance Meowstic, but also had Alolan Ninetales in the back, just to make sure that the Clawitzers never had Sun when they wanted it. But yeah, I think, if I had to guess, I think Trick Room's probably coming back. Because that was just so good last time, and like Sun still works in Trick Room, and it seems like he doesn't have answers for both of them, maybe? We'll see, though. Entei and Meowstic will be the lead here, as, yep, it is Exeggutor, I was right, with Berserker. So yeah, that Trick Room coming out once again, although it is Protect. You know, baiting out, whatever. Fake Out's going to go into Entei, it does have Inner Focus, though, so it's not going to flinch. Light Screen comes up, and Sacred Fire goes into Exeggutor. So getting the Sacred Fire target right, as Exeggutor will tear it into Fairy. Alluring Voice will hit it from Meowstic, not doing a ton of damage. And Sacred Fire will also hit Exeggutor. No burn, though. Citrus Berry, of course. Knockoff going into Meowstic, who has Covert Cloak is shown, so it wouldn't have mattered if he faked out that slot anyway. Meowstic does live, and Exeggutor gets the Harvest 50% chance. And protects on his first turn of Trick Room. Knockoff going into the safety goggles. Entei, so it can be slept now. And yep, the Tel Aviv Clawitzers predicting, yeah, the double attack into the protect. Knockoff going into what's his name? Meowstick to take it out. And this is probably like psychic into. Oh no, it is sleep. It is sleep powder. Yeah, to put the Entei to sleep after the safety goggles have been knocked off. And now Tentacle will hit the field. This knockoff goes into it as well. See, it is a Salt Vest. That's why it's taking just so little damage from special moves. And it'll also go to sleep. Executor hitting two sleep powders, despite only being 75% accurate. I think that's just only your favorite there. And Light Screen does wear off. So yep, Entei will take, I think that's its second turn of sleep as knockoff goes into it. Not going to do a ton of damage though. And Psychic will go into KO it. I think this is Tentacruel's also second turn of sleep. Yes, this is his second turn of sleep. And now it is a 2v4. It's going to be a little rough to win this one here. Ninetales coming out to win the Weather War and give Executor that berry with Harvest. Alolan Ninetales is going to protect as Tentacle takes its third turn to sleep, but yeah, Trick Room does come up for free now. As a Terra Fairy comes out from Alolan Ninetales, Psychic is going to pick up the KO on Tentacle now that Assault Vest is gone. Moonblast not picking up the KO on Executor. Next one will, though. If you do get a next one. Heat Wave doing decent damage to Alolan Ninetales. Here is the Harvest as Executor eats yet another Citrus Berry Psychic, and then probably just another move from Ninetales here if I had to guess. Executor, having done its job, does KO2 Moonblast here, Overheat coming out, hitting, and that'll be the game. Yeah, good game to both opponents. Or not both opponents, both players, I should say. But yeah, Tel Aviv Clawitzers 2-1.